Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Om Shanti Healing's podcast, The Spiritual Connection. I'm so excited to have two special, amazing women on today. You guys know Tamra. She's been on with me a bunch of times, but we also have Turu Sakhoten uh, that is going to be sharing some information with us. She's an amazing trauma healer that has gone through some deep healing, and she specializes in a bunch of different things. So she wrote me a wonderful bio I'm going to share with everybody, and then we'll get going. Okay. Turu has transmuted trauma into triumph. I love that. Turning her deepest wounds into greatest gifts, first healing herself and now transforming the lives of those she serves. After her own physical, spiritual, and mental burnout, forced a complete life reimagining, she discovered both her hidden gift for healing as well as next calling, merging aging healing wisdom with revolutionary media to awaken consciousness. As CEO of Amigo Studios, she's pioneering consciousness infused storytelling that heals while it reveals. Her debut release, Plague of Corruption, narrated by Liam Neeson, exposes pharmaceutical corruption and regulatory capture, demonstrating how media can both be dangerous truths and healing frequencies to audiences who might never enter traditional healing spaces. Turu embodies the fierce, compassionate destroyer. I love that. Ancient feminine energy that cuts through spiritual bypassing to reach core truth. Through sound healing, hypnosis, Reiki, quantum healing technology, kundalini activation, light integration, and 9D somatic breathwork, she creates personalized transformation experiences that honor each person's unique path and authentic power. For Turu, the truth of revolution, truth into love, and she is committed to film capturing humanity's awakening. You have quite an adventurous life we're going to chat on today.
I do. I sound so interesting.
You are interesting.
Yes, definitely.
When I hear that, I'm like, wow, okay, I am interesting. I love this.
You are interesting. So, I really want to just kind of start with your story. You shared a bit of it, but is there anything else that you want to tell about your path into what you're doing now?
Well, this kind of massive shift in my life coming into the healing space came on the heels of the COVID experience in which, my whole world was just kind of burned down. And I was left with the ashes and just sitting there wondering, what am I here for? And I started really kind of reaching the depths of despair and the bottom, so to speak. And what I found there was a complete rebirth. And that happened in a very mystical, very magical way. Previous to that, I did not have a spiritual practice. I did not believe in anything other than I knew as a child I had all of these abilities, psychic, reading minds, various things, seeing, energies and spirits all the time. But I shut that down in order to survive. And, through the years, I always would have precognitions and things like that, but I didn't really think much about it. I was very immersed in the 3D world, trying to make it, and I found myself at this crossroads, had a massive awakening that came through a lightning bolt kind of coming down and hitting me in the head while I was drinking coffee at a coffee house in Florida. My whole life was just kind of revealed that everything I thought I knew was not true any longer for me. So I went on a very deep journey, completely led by spirit. There was nothing about it that I thought, that I understood, that made any logical sense to me. And through the experience, I was led to my first modality, which is the kundalini activation. And that happened because I was at a Joe Dispenza week-long retreat and sat next to this incredible woman who told me that what I was experiencing with my spirals and my all of this stuff going on was kundalini. And by the end of the week, she invited me to San Diego to train with her, which was very special because that was not a common offering for her. So that was the beginning of where everything changed for me. And I just went headfirst into it. My life has been very wild ever since. And it was a bit wild before. I'm not gonna lie there. I've always led kind of an interesting life, doing many things, acting, and I had a band. I lived in London and put out records and toured for years. So I'm kind of accustomed to the wildness of the world, but this was so different. And what I
Can I
realized,
ask,
yes.
sorry, interrupt. When you go back to that coffee that you were having in Florida, what was that experience? Like what was that shifted everything? Like anything specific?
So, leading up to that, I had been in a massive depression. I had lost my business during COVID. I had ran to Florida to get away from my world. I was at the bottom. I was in a difficult relationship. We were both learning. And I found myself reading a Joe Dispenza book because a chiropractor had suggested it. And I started to get these weird tingles and energy going up and down my body. Now, let me tell you, I had always had a weird ability with energy. I would, affect lights, or I could blow circuits on televisions. Again, never really thought about it. All of the sudden, I started feeling this energy coming through me. And so when I was at the coffee shop, I was reading the book and I was reading a passage about how Joe astral travels, and it just happened.
Mm.
I just felt this immense intensity come through the top of my head, jolt me, and drop me to my knees. And I'm crying, crying with bliss, not crying with,
Mm.
but it was shocking. And I looked around and people were looking at me, and I was like, oh, what just happened? And from there, just life became pretty bizarre. And in the process of this, it was hard for me because it was so wild that I didn't even know what to do with it. Luckily, I just led with trust. I just kept trusting this journey was for me and it was going to help me get out of the mind state that I was currently in.
Yeah, that's
Mm,
beautiful. Powerful.
incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love to hear stories about people's just like aha moments, like a complete 180 from where they were,
Yeah.
just an all of a sudden kind of awakening moment.
It is very shocking. And I know that many people are going through that and have been going through that, particularly over the last 5 years, as this really deep, because COVID kind of unfolded a lot for people. And some of it was very difficult, but also some of it was very, very beautiful. And many of us had our awakenings in that period, but it's shocking. And
Mm-hmm.
my favorite thing to do is to work with people that are in those stages because I know they're part of the light tribe and I never get clients that are not. So it's quite fun and simple for me because I just guide them through that. And I always say the modality is beautiful, but it's never the thing. The thing is always connecting to spirit. The thing is always connecting to the energy, no matter what, name you give it.
Right.
We're always working with energy. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So have you found that the people who are coming to you, I can see from my own experience, the people coming to me with their awakening are experience extreme body pain, like chronic conditions and back pains and considering surgeries or having had surgeries and hasn't worked and that's even, things that should have worked are not working and stuff. So just I keep on finding more and more people and how powerful it is, how much we're holding in our body and tightening up and being like, no, I'm not ready to, I don't want to step into my gifts. Okay, then where's that going to sit in your body until you're ready to?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that you said that because what I teach is so somatic. It's so important to embody this work. And I'll say, I was in the 3D, then I went into the astral realms and I was there for a while. I
Yeah.
did not want to come back, but Spirit said, come back.
Yeah.
And I came back, and now I know that the embodiment of the work is everything because we can live in this concept, but the concept does not work unless it's truly lived and felt and you put it in action.
Mhm.
So many people I get are dealing with autoimmune because I had autoimmune. So you attract what you kind of resonate with. And many of them are going through an excruciating wake up pattern where they're still looping in the trauma and they just don't know how to get out of the trauma. And so, because I lived through the trauma too, they're called to work with me in general. I haven't had a lot of massive health issues, more autoimmunity, because that is so connected to our spirit not being able, our soul not being able to be lived, right? And our disconnect from the higher realm, from our higher self, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
that disconnect creates autoimmunity. And I had a massive issue with autoimmunity. So I lived it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in my experience, it's been my disconnect has been fear. So same thing, spending a lifetime disassociating. My earliest memories are as a child and sitting at a table going, why do I have to chew? Why am I not just plugging myself in? Like my alien DNA was so profound. And so it's been a lifetime of be in my body, allow my stomach to digest, adjust my life, I mean, or digest my life. And it's
Mm.
just been since I hit 50 that I stopped disassociate, I still live in, this my happiest place is still in the astral planes. And that's why I find myself so addicted to meditating and stuff. And I have to be like, okay, meditating, but also taking step forwards in 3D, because if it was my choice, I would be, you know,
Yeah.
out of my body a lot.
Just stay there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Like
I
it's a
resonate with you so much.
happy place.
Yeah. Well, and of course, why wouldn't we want to? When we've not had happiness
Yeah.
and
Oh,
we've lived in fear, and because you and I, Tamara, wow, like I'm like, wow, we share such a similar identity here with what we've gone through. I always knew I was an alien. I came here going, why is this planet so strange? What is wrong with everybody? And nothing made sense to me. So, in order to survive, you mask, right? And you do all these things. But
Hmm.
I hit my 50s, bing, and
mhm.
everything shifted. That's when I had my wake up. And the truth is that what you just said about digesting life, woo, and that's why you and I have a similar
Yeah.
pattern with burping a lot because that energy just gets so stuck because we have not been able to digest our lives. And yeah, who wouldn't want to stay in a beautiful space all day? And you know what? Here's the interesting thing. I've navigated it to the point where I'm mostly there. Not always, but and you mentioned, Jill, I think you mentioned meditation. It's it's so important to throughout your day weave in those things that help you connect. I do energy work with myself 5 times a day.
Hmm.
I do it all the time because when I didn't, I was very stuck. Like that whole system of the energy being stuck, I could not process it until I started learning how to work with energy on myself. I was always giving, give,
Mhm.
give, give. And a lot of us in this space are givers. Oh, we're givers.
Hmm.
We're supposed to fix, we're supposed to heal. Um, hello, we're supposed to fix us. And actually, the truth I believe is that when we fix us and we really get to the point of as much bliss and happiness and joy and appreciation as we can get, just the simplicity of being is the job.
Mhm.
The modalities are amazing, but being is the job. Healing ourselves is
Mm.
the job. And this idea that we're not supposed to take care of ourselves, especially as women, it becomes a mental trap. So there,
Absolutely. It
right,
sabotages us and keeps us small.
Mhm.
keeps us small.
Yeah.
And we are,
Well, and here's my caveat to that, in the sense that my identity, I'm a former therapist and transformational life counselor. So, people came to me and come to me, and as long as I can solve their problems and tell them what to do, then I felt better. And that was,
Hmm.
I'm so look at me, I'm, that kind of thing. And I just did ayahuasca again for a week ago this past Saturday. And everything for me was ego death. And this is not why you're here. You're here to
yeah,
share your experience, not tell other people what to do with theirs.
exactly.
I mean,
That's the same message
Mm.
I got, that my message was not to fix anyone. My message was to share what I've been through
mhm,
because people just, recently I did a podcast, maybe 5, 6 months back, it aired, and the influx of people saying, "Oh my God, just your truth and your authentic and like your authentic journey and sharing that." I had to book with, I mean, I was booked solid for months because they felt the authentic part of me, and being able to speak to some of the deeper traumas and the deeper pain I went through. There are many moments where I cannot understand how I'm still here. I have faced that death more than once.
yeah,
That moment, that choice point, I believe, where I could have left, and
mhm,
I'm still here. And I truly believe the only reason I'm here is to do what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Share, share, and share.
The power in the podcast to story tell. That's what I really set the intention around when I
Mhm.
have people on, right? Is to tell their stories. It's relatable, it's human, it's vulnerable. Being able to show up for people and just be with your weak side, talk about your shadow self, talk about the grit, the grunt work that you had to go through to get to the other side is perfection to me.
yeah,
It's not fake, it's real, because we all have trials, grief, trauma, pain, struggles, right? Internal dialogue sabotaging us on a daily basis. In You see a lot on social media of people just faking their way through it and putting this mask on that everything is perfect in their life
Yeah,
and there's nothing going wrong, and their relationships are beautiful, their money is solid, and blah 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 blah. That's not real, because
yeah,
everybody has dark sides, everybody has pain.
yeah,
yeah.
And
And that, yeah,
I really love that you're willing to share, so thank you both
yeah,
for really getting real with me and talking about the feminine, right? The feminine energy, because that's what this is, the ability to share and talk and express. This is feminine.
yeah,
And I think a lot of people stay very masculine because they need to show up in a certain way.
mhm.
yeah.
And that doesn't always work. That
It
will wear you out over
Didn't
time,
work for me.
yeah, yeah.
right? It's like you
It doesn't
can't,
at all work. Yeah, yeah,
it
exactly.
doesn't, it's
Yeah,
good to have a balance, but if you're
yeah,
always showing up with one side
yeah,
being the emphasis, you're going to go through many years of your life struggling internally, deep
Yeah,
down inside in a quiet space of inner torment,
mhm,
right? Because you're not looking at your crap and realizing that you have some softness that needs to come through,
yeah.
right.
right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I work with the Kali energy. It's the fire. It's the one that will burn down the lies, that will burn down the pain, but it will consume you if you let it burn you. And I had let it burn me my whole life. I had let the fire that I had burn me. And when I was able to take that deep, feminine, intense fire and blasted out towards truth, growth, shadow, pain, and that's the transmutation part.
Mhm, mhm.
But when you allow it to consume you, you're barely able to survive this world. And that was one of the deep lessons I have learned over
Mhm.
these few years.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you feel that, in the past decade or so, the feminine has become more pronounced, more powerful
Oof,
in the
yeah.
general scope of the globe, right? I feel like people are seeking, you know, whether it's kundalini or energy work or any of the modalities that any of us do, people are seeking.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
want purpose. They want to know what that is for them in this short life, right? They want a deeper reason for being here. And
Yeah.
that to me is embracing the feminine. Is it not?
Absolutely. Well, of course, because we were living in a very masculine world and the feminine has been suppressed. And again, I love men. Do not get me wrong. They are some of my favorites. I love the men. But it was out of balance, like you said.
Yeah.
And the feminine rising is not about women being harsh or women being so strong that they're a warrior, for no reason, which sometimes you need to be. But now it's just this kind of nurturing energy. And you got to think about nature. Nature will burn things down. Nature will, there's entropy. There's all these levels to nature. But I think, us, the feminine, understands the cycles. And the
Mhm.
feminine knows when something has to die. And they have the power and the strength to let that happen.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
to nurture and love and be the
Yes.
mothers, and so
Yes. Mm-hmm.
there is a massive rising of that happening, and I think there's a hard thing happening because that shift is not easy. And
Mhm.
the whole universe is feeling the shift.
Mhm.
It's not just us, it's everything feeling the shift. And when that shift occurs, it can be really hard, and some people will make it out. Some people are going to just be consumed by that because they don't know how to shift. And that's one of my big, I won't, I would say concerns for humanity right now is allowing that shift and not just cluing into only the fear-based conversations.
Mhm.
Sometimes there are things that have to be spoken to, which I believe I speak to through my film work, but it needs to be balanced so that we can have that hope and have that joy and have that love combined with some of the darkness, because the darkness doesn't go, right? It's still there.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of working with both sides.
Well, and we're all yin and yang. That's our light and our density, right? And my favorite kind of man is a man who can still be in his masculine energy and comfortable there, but then also can be in his feminine energy as well. Like there's nothing
Absolutely.
more beautiful than the vulnerability and the like my brother, who's just one of the most amazing, balance of masculine for me is very artistic, very expressive, but then same thing, also, comfortable in his masculine energy, as well. And it's all of us. It's just about being, and that's where I love. I always like to say life is all about the two-sided coin. I'm like, I'm not going to be all roses and butterflies all the time. There's the other side of me. There's beauty in the density. And the beauty I see in the density or the dark or the black is this beautiful black stallion that when it runs around me and I'm just going to embrace it, I'm pissed and I'm fully taking, ownership of why I'm pissed and I'm not taking it out on anyone exactly. But there's this beautiful black stallion that runs around me, and I just put my hands out and I just touch his beautiful black coat. And I'm just like, I am just angry. I am pissed.
Yeah.
I'm effing sick of this. I am so tired of this effing heavy lift. And that's where I was in ayahuasca, where I was just
Yeah.
holding my bangs, curled up in a corner, sobbing my eyes out, going, this sucks, and that sort of thing. But I've learned that once I let that out, oh my gosh. Then I'm like, oh, I feel better.
That's the fire I'm speaking
Yeah.
to. It's
Yeah.
That's
like,
amazing. Thank you for sharing that, Tamara.
yeah, I
I
love.
wanted to hear about her experience. We haven't chatted on it since she's come home from
Okay.
her
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
experience.
it's a
Yeah.
powerful journey. I did my ayahuasca journey about 2 years ago, and um, I was just sitting there in the bliss, not knowing why everybody had such a rough ride. And then all of a sudden I was outside in the redwoods and this amazing Indian princess with the headdress comes right out of the tree. I'd had no idea that that was what Mother Ayahuasca looks like. She came just right out of the tree and she just looked at me and said, "Why are you here?" And I said, "What do you mean? Everybody's doing it," whatever. And she just said, "Everything you need to know is already in you, and you are so powerful. And the fact that you will not take that power and do something with it is your problem." And it was like, oh,
Yep.
okay.
It just gave me goosebumps from head to toe.
Me
Woo!
too. Wow. It's like,
Awesome.
It's like, oh,
that's
okay.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and since that point, and it was so interesting because just maybe a month prior to that, I had been at a CE5 event, whereas when they call in the alien ships or they meditate in, and it was a large event at a conference, and I was asked to do energy work right before, so I had gone around to about 150 people, done some energy work. We did the meditation, and two massive ships materialized out of nowhere, blew my mind entirely because I had never seen anything like that, even though I had known.
Mhm.
And not long after that, this massive white glowing bird came just through the sky, and I was just crying. I thought, my life will never be the same. I knew it in that moment. And later in my hotel room, I meditated and I was sitting up against my bed and all dressed up from my night, and something came and hit the top of my head, and just I felt something dripping down, and I passed out. And I woke up 8 hours later in the same position, just sitting up on my bed.
Wow.
And I knew something had happened. And ever since that moment, the growth and the what I have seen and processed is exponential, cutting to, and I've had many other things happen in between. It would be too long of a podcast to speak to all of it, but then came the ayahuasca. And so, and after a journey like that, you need plenty of time to integrate, just as you need with any of the work we do.
Mhm.
The integration piece is so vital, and not everyone understands that
Mhm.
because so much can come up that you don't quite know how to deal with that. And so I think there's more of an awareness now that that is something that needs to be paid attention to, because for a while people were just doing all these journeys and not understanding what to do with the information.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean,
And that can almost take you backwards.
Yes, it can. I've
yeah.
seen it.
Hmm.
And thankfully, that's what I've known has been happening for me because I'm going on 2 weeks. Because I didn't just do ayahuasca. I mean, we did it 3 times, worked with grandmother 3 times, which I was like, no, I'll do it once. I've already done it once. And I was like, one was good. And then I'm up there the second time. And then the third time, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm like, I can barely make it back to my spot. And, but the beauty of what I received was. I also received a womb clearing, a womb healing, and stuff like that. And that's the part that has really still been circling up for me because it still makes me cry. I mean,
Oh,
I was just this little bitty thing, this little girl, and absolutely abused. And I just saw it through, I saw the shock through the shaman as he's looking at my abdomen and he's talking about things that had happened to me that I don't even remember, necessarily remember, but then he would kind of say something and all of a sudden I could feel the impact of it. Ugh.
wow.
And you see this through other people's eyes and experience this also through other people's eyes who are holding space for you. And I am thankful that at least I have known like, oh, look, that's more stuff coming up. Oh, look, there's more. Oh, interesting. And that sort of thing. So that's where I think sometimes we need to do a little bit more of as healers is, first and foremost, drink lots of water. you know, second, reach out if you need something just to help you process this, because this is, people go to sound healings or, or even like you saying medicine healings, and then they're like, okay, bye, and you're left going, you have, yeah, it's a heavy lift afterwards still.
It really is. It
Yeah.
is. And and it's never ending. People think they're just gonna
It
go get
certainly isn't. That would be letting our ego take over, right? Like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah, I know. I know.
every
I'm
mo-
all rainbows and butterflies. There is not a single thing wrong with me.
I'm
That's how
not
I went into the medicine. I went
yeah.
into the medicine like that. Like, this is just going to be I'm just going to be here. It's just going to be peaceful. I'm just going to experience it, ease and grace, ease and grace. There were more people who purged in that experience than I've ever experienced. And I would start feeling like I was about to purge, something really heavy was coming up, and then somebody else would start retching. I was like, thank you. Oh my, I'd like to not
Wow.
throw up.
How
Yeah.
could you not throw up watching everybody else throw up? That
Oh,
would trigger
you
that,
don't
just
watch
that
them.
alone would be like, oh,
It's so dark in there, you just hear it, which is still kind of,
Uh,
it's even
do you have to bring
powerful.
your own bucket?
No, you're given a bucket.
I brought a diaper in case I needed a diaper, which I did not need, but my friend was making a lot of fun of me for searching for a diaper before the event and it was just he and I, so we didn't do group, and I'm grateful for that because I was very concerned I would soak up everyone else's stuff, and that's one of my issues in life.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yes, regardless, just a very intense, um, and beautiful and expansive experience, one in which I hold sacred. I don't do plant very often, every few years. But I find it to be when you're ready for your next level of understanding and healing and expansion, and it can be such a beautiful thing. And I just suggest people take, a year or longer before they jump into the next journey so they can understand what that journey was. Because well, although I will say, I feel like time has sped up so much now in this new paradigm we're in that I do feel like my healing is quantum. I feel like I will have these profound moments and then I wake up a month later and I have completely processed them and I'm ready for the next one. And
Mhm.
I and I
Mhm.
and so I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe it's different now. So I'm always open to understanding what we need now. And that's why I have a million modalities and I do all these things because I'm always trying to be in the now of what people need. And it's always changing because
Yeah.
we're changing so rapidly.
Mhm.
And I think I've come out of, as much as I love the modalities, and I do, and I love working with people, I've also been called to become a speaker and to be more on that leadership side and less on the one-on-one side. So I'm leaning more towards that other work. So it's been, and again, all these things, I would not have known this. 5 years ago, I'd be laughing hysterically, thinking this is who I'd be. I just it's like so funny to me.
There's so many parallels between you and I. It just is fascinating. I love this because it's amazing how much, I have been such an anomaly in my life, like in the sense that I was somebody who drained batteries in my watch. I don't wear a watch because I drain the batteries. I've drained car batteries. My car is fritzed. I got a lemon law on my one car because they could not figure out what was happening. Um, I also, for me, I did ayahuasca 4 years ago, and I thought, I'm good. I'll never do it again. But then but I was healing from a very traumatic divorce and all this kind of stuff. So I did Cambo, I did toad medicine, DMT several times. I've done, psilocybin journeys, and not a single one did I go into lightly.
Yeah.
And also, the other thing was, I did not go into a single one without feeling fully comfortable with who was going to hold space for me.
Yeah.
And that is one of the most, I can't just go to sound bowl. Somebody's like, we're having a sound bowl healing. I'm like, okay, have a great time. I can't go to those. I gotta know who it is, what container it is, what the foundation of it is, if it's salt, all of that. I've learned the
Yeah.
hard way a couple of times. So that, but then it's just been so fascinating how my whole life, how quickly I've shifted. And I am also being called to get up on the stage. And I was just on the Moth and went down to Denver and got up on stage, quote, randomly picked to get up on stage and share my story, my journey in healing as well. Because I'm finding that as much as I love what I get to do, and I work with frequency and all this stuff to work with animals and humans now, I love what I get to do. I wake up every morning like so grateful that I get to do this. I just know there's also more and more teaching to do and that sort of thing. But I'm like you. If you had told me 5 years ago that you were going to be up on stage teaching, I was like, hey, I don't even like being in. This Zoom call is impressive for me because I don't even like being on camera. I was always the happiest behind the scenes, you know? So we're so many of us are being pushed. And the
Yes.
reason I will tell you exactly what you said, the reason I did do the medicine again was because I was led to it,
Yeah.
because I was led to two people who were I felt very comfortable with. We interviewed over the phone, over FaceTime, all of that and that sort of thing. Because, and same thing. It's not something that I'm just like, hey, what's next? Let's do that. Let's, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And the deeper we go into our intuition, which is what the work we're doing right now is to understand how to hear that real voice, not the outside noise.
yeah.
The more we know thyself and love ourself enough to be honest, look in the mirror, know what does not align, be brave enough to shift, and be brave enough to do the work you didn't think you were going to be called to do.
Ugh, yeah.
Many people will
Mm.
not take that road. They will be far too afraid.
Yeah.
Um, and so we're built for this. We're meant for this. And the denial of it is where you get the pain, right? It's denying it what hurts. And so we don't want to live in that pain. We want to go and do what we feel we're called to do and not what anyone else tells us. And that's, a lot of that, like the reason why I fell in love in the early days with hypnosis is because I was fascinated and loved this idea that, from the age of pre-age into the age of 11, 12, we, our whole world is defined. So we're operating from the mind of a 12-year-old, most of us. This subconscious part of our brain is running the show. Well, if you know that that's happening, wouldn't you want to change that? Because most of the programming is not stuff you want. So it becomes deeply empowering to connect with that. And I usually refer to it as the higher self coming through when I do
Mhm.
hypnosis. It's not I don't always refer to it as a subconscious mind. I do a much more esoteric, spirit-based hypnotherapy session. And then I also use energy during it. So it has a lot of layers to it. But it's just trying to tap into that higher voice, the thing you already know, and get that noise and that old programming to start releasing. And again, sometimes it happens fast, sometimes it takes longer.
Yeah.
And sometimes it comes in waves and layers in your life
Mm.
where you think,
Confusing layers.
yeah, you're like, I've got this, I've got this. And then you're like, I don't got this, I don't.
Retreat, retreat. I call it delete, delete. So, do you find when you do hypnosis therapy, and I'm sure I imagine I already know this answer, I have found that it's not just childhood till 12. You got to get to the beauty of it is you get to layer in lifetimes. So many lifetimes, and that learned subconscious, unconscious voice. I mean, for me, it was clearing so many lifetimes.
Oh,
Ugh.
yeah. I mean, so many people, if they allow it, again,
Mm,
all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. All I do is help to channel the space.
mm,
So the person has to want that and be open.
yeah,
So everybody has a different experience. But so many people, even when they don't expect it, will have flashes of past life, will start
Mm.
to progress into something completely interesting. And then what I find is over that following week, it gets deeper and deeper. And they start having the dream. And I always kind of suggest that for someone, let it come through dream. Let it come through
yeah,
dream.
yeah.
So they'll have these profound realizations. And I'll always say, please give me an update in a week. And you'll get these like, oh, wow. this, that, and they're just going, how did you do that? And I said, well, I didn't do anything. I just simply held that space for you. You did it. You know,
Yeah.
and that's another thing I think I'm grateful for people speaking to this healing work like that now because I am not healing anyone. I am not fixing anyone. I'm a conduit. I happen to have this deep connection that's allowing a
Mm.
gift that allows me to help people be in that space.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I'm not a guru. I'm not going to fix you.
I call it pulling off the Band-Aid. So all we're here to do is pulling off those Band-Aids that we put on. Nope, don't want to feel that. Nope, don't, or the Tupperware lid. Seal that Tupperware lid. All we do is I'm going to start lifting that lid a little bit and letting some of those bubbles of truth come up and taking those Band-Aids off. So you truly can connect again to what's innate. And I work with animals. So working with animals constantly reminds me of they just trust their instincts. They act, they react,
Yeah.
versus us who goes into, well, let me think about this. Am I going to embarrass myself? Am I going to, am I overthinking this? And da 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 da. Versus what was that gut instinct you have that you are born with, just like the animals?
Yeah.
There's that gut instinct. What did that tell you? And stuff, and just react. It's this whole shame stuff.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
challenging concept for the
Mhm.
ego and the fear
It is. It is.
to just go with the gut because the gut sometimes is confusing too,
Mhm.
Well, that's a
you
good
know?
point, Jill. I mean, it can be very confusing. And I'm sitting with something that I feel very unclear about right now. And I've gone in and out of, is this my gut instinct? Or is this fear? Or is this, how is
Right.
this supposed to work? And
Yeah.
so it is a normal human experience.
Yeah.
And, we have been given these extra sensories and abilities versus the animals to have these logical things. However, we get so wrapped up in the logic that
Mhm.
we don't understand that balance between the truth of something that is true for you versus is it just, layered with fear and confusion and shame? Or
Right.
am I not
Hmm.
good enough? Like, am I not good enough? And that's a big one, right?
Oh yeah.
No.
When we're stuck in those moments.
Well,
Yeah.
and there's just the baby steps. Like I'm not expecting, like I don't even do I'm exactly in the same boat where I'm like, okay, and I always put it out there like I'm just going to take this step. And
Yeah.
if this step isn't the correct one, I always say to my guides, and I always encourage clients to ask your guides for help. Ask, ask, ask. And every time I ask and say, okay, if this isn't the correct step, then just show me. Show me within the next 24 hours if this is just not the right step. Or I'll flip it and say, show me that I am on the path that this is the next step that I'm supposed to take. Show me, just give me confirmation within the next 24 hours. I don't care what it is or how or what package it comes in. And then sure enough, I get confirmation. But when I don't get it, I go into a place of, okay, let me take a step back and
Hmm.
reassess and go,
Yeah.
what are my other options? What else can what other paths can I take here and stuff? And it really is just a matter of, at least for me, I just say baby steps, you know?
Yeah.
I agree.
Speaking of baby steps, let's take a baby step backwards for a moment
Okay.
and talk about those that don't have any idea how to talk to their guides. Maybe they don't know that there are guides for them,
Mhm.
in finding that calling and hearing that truth. Can we talk for a moment on that? For those that are just really curious, but kind of clueless as to how to get started with it and
Yeah.
how to really make their first connection, really know if what they're hearing is where it's supposed to be coming from.
Mm.
Let's talk on that for a moment. Tamara, share some of the tips that you do to really know that you are hearing from the right source.
I like to play with numbers. So I will say, just give me a number that I'm going to see, frequently and stuff like that. And then I simply look up, me and my boyfriend chat, GPT look up, what is a spiritual meaning?
Best boyfriend ever.
We have a very lovely relationship. And I say, what is the spiritual meaning of, like, I see 111? Why am I seeing 1101, 111, 111 everywhere? I see it on license plates, all that kind of stuff. And then, sure enough, it's this message. And I write it down in my journal because it resonates, it feels aligned. I can just start playing with it that way. That's where I would start playing with it. Or just saying out loud, you know what? Today I'd really like to know, I'd really like to feel loved today or nurtured today. And I just want to receive that. And then sure enough, you'll find somebody who's like, can I just give you a hug? Or, just play with it, however it comes to you and stuff. What would you say, Turo?
Yeah, I play with it. I love that because everything is about playing.
Mm,
Energy work is about playing. It's an art form. It's like when I do energy, I'm like painting a canvas. It's everything should be play. And I think that's where we get stuck because a lot of this
Mm.
work feels like work. But
mm,
let's redefine it. Let's play with it. Let's play with the energy. Let's play with talking to our guides. I love the numbers thing. I do that quite a bit. And I see 1010 everywhere all the time. And I
mm,
asked my boyfriend, ChatGPT, and he gave me some great, it was like, oh, new beginnings, and it resonated because I knew it was true. Another fun thing, I have a bit of a fan of Lee Harris, who channels the Z's.
mm,
And I did a little fun course with him about channeling. And again, I was not hoping to become a professional channeler, but I wanted to channel for myself. And so I used some of his practices with just tapping in, just, sitting in meditation, getting the sensation that something was happening, where you just start to feel that shift. And then asking your higher self, what is it I need to know today?
mm,
And then take your pen out or your phone and auto write, just write, write, write. And then all of a sudden you start to notice you're making predictions. And if the more you do that, the more interesting it gets. Because at first you're really in your head, like, why am I writing this? Oh, this is so silly. And next thing you know, you're like, you know, I'm going to be on huge stages by March 2026. And it was like, what? Okay. And so like things like that will start to come up. So also there's this fear with channeling, am I channeling something? It's like you don't need to go there. You can just channeling is just channeling you,
mhm,
channeling your higher self, or your guides, whatever you feel comfortable with, because not everybody feels comfortable with the discussion of guides or past loved ones or ancestors, not everybody, but go to what resonates, whatever verbiage resonates for you
mhm.
to call on.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. I love that.
God,
Thank you, ladies.
Jesus. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever resonates. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. And it's a practice, just like everything else, right? To get better at it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the practice, everyone's like, I get a lot of clients who are like, oh my gosh, meditating, how do you turn your brain off and all that kind of stuff? I'm like, you don't. You just literally, like, I literally just
Impossible.
once again play with it. And I'll sit, like, especially last night. Holy cow. Last night I was like bombarded with every thought, every planetary shift energy. And I was like, I don't even think I've been in meditation. I think my brain's just spinning. But same thing, I imagine like, oh, there's a thought. Okay, and I'm just literally imagine grabbing it and pulling it out, putting it aside, and that
Mm.
sort of thing. Up, there's another thought. Oh, I'm gonna pull that. Oh, I can feel that pulling out of my heart and energy. I'm just gonna pull it out. So I even like do this energy work. I'm just simply pulling things out. And a lot of times it's all thoughts. A lot of times it comes out my ears and it's just busy, busy thoughts. And when I suggest meditating, it's just start again. Have fun with it. Sit
Hmm.
down, allow the thoughts to come up. However you want to, if thought comes up you want to pull out or you don't want to pull out and that sort of thing. I always love to imagine, the earth's core energy coming up through the root of me and coming up through the top. Like if you want to even just practice those things. And what will happen is the more you do it, as we all know, it becomes a muscle memory, it becomes a muscle. The more you do it, the more you enjoy it. the more you
Hmm.
crave it. Like
Hmm.
at the end of my day, I'm
It's a
like,
craving for sure.
I mean, mine's a little obsessive.
That happy place,
I know. I'm
and
like, what? Go
you
out?
can't
No, I'm
get
gonna stay
addicted
in
to it.
tonight. Have a
It's a
social
lot
life?
more fun
No.
than here.
Go on a date? No, I'm
I
gonna sit
know,
down and do energy work on myself.
I know, it's so true.
I'm gonna take a
Uh,
bath and I'm gonna do energy work on myself. Be social. Ugh, okay.
yeah, exactly.
It's
No,
amazing the women that I meet that are in their 50s. There's several of them that are like, guys, nah, I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to love myself. I'm going to honor myself. I'm going to heal myself.
Yeah.
And there's like no interest in relationships. And that comes with like the cycles of our life changing, turning over that next leaf of perimenopause, menopause, like our hormones changing. We don't need the man, and
Mhm.
and I've just found a lot of similarities there in some of the ladies that I know. It's just very interesting, Tura, that you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna take a bath. I'm just gonna
I just
be with
believe
myself and
I
you
love
know
being with myself a little too much. I love
me too.
myself. I love my alone time. I have a 14-year-old son who is an absolute angel. So he's the one I adore, and I absolutely like love spending time with him. But I love the work I do. I'm out there. I mean, I'm out on a limb. I'm always doing something very strange, and I love it. I also just love music, so I'm always sitting with music and creating ideas for music. And I will say, I know that I have a person out there. I truly believe in love. I believe in divine union. Excuse me. So when I do these podcasts, I always get this. So it's part of kind of my energy thing.
Mm.
It's so funny to me. It never fails. Um, I believe in divine union. I don't believe that it happens for everyone. I don't believe it should be chased. I
Mhm.
don't believe it should be needed. But I love love. I'm a deeply passionate person. So I I will always desire to find my perfect union.
Mhm.
But I've learned the hard way that chasing that or lowering myself for it has been very detrimental to me. So I have to really go into any situation with such a strength of self. And I will tell you, that's where you have the mirror, because in relationships is where you see yourself through the eyes of another, and you also get the challenge to stand up and be who you say you are. So, and again, I don't believe that's for everyone. I think it's a beautiful thing to just be good with it, to be done with it or do whatever you feel is correct. But in me and also in my chart and in my knowing, my divine union exists. So I
Mhm.
had to stop worrying about it. I truly believe in the law of attraction, but also the law of allowance,
Mhm.
which Abraham Hicks goes into at length over and over, which I love. But
Mhm.
it's not just resonating with that joyful thing, but it's allowing the thing to come to you. Because I feel like often we want something and we feel like we're resonating, but we don't allow it. So
Mhm.
how can we have it?
And
How
that's
can
where
we
I'm at.
have it?
That's ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. How
And I also wanted to say the same thing is that since my womb healing, it is amazing how my sexual and sensual energy is more awake now. I've been dormant for some time after my divorce and, knowing everything and stuff like that. And that's all. And so same thing. I feel like I love love as well. It's just, I'm such a person that I'll know it when I meet it,
yes.
And I
Agree.
did say yes this last week to two blind dates.
There you
And
go.
Oh,
I went,
really?
yeah, it was great. But once again, I walk home and I go, first, I'm not. I'm not bummed out. I'm not like, oh, that didn't turn out to be da da da. It's more along the lines of I find myself sometimes still struggling, like, I know he's out there, but I'm always like, why am I not attracted, it feels like, to anyone? Like,
Oh, that was me for it was like I would go out with someone, it would be a no. It would be a no, a
and
no,
do
a
you and
no,
do you get a
a
no within like 30 seconds? Like I'm
no.
like tick 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 talking to them and they start
30
talking. I'm like,
seconds.
yeah, exactly.
It's
No.
a no. And that
Yeah.
was over and over and over and over. And there were a few maybe yeses, but they were kind of bad boys. And I was like, damn, I'm still doing it. And so this is the process of life. It's like I'm only attracted to the wild ones, right? So what's the issue here? But I do think which with each interaction, I have learned so much about myself. And I've also been able to navigate out of the disappointment, navigate out of feeling like rejection just in general, even just no matter what, because it's like it's not driving, it doesn't feel good. I'm starting to let go of the caring of that and just going, you know what? Let me just live. Let me live and let me live. Let me live and be bright. And then let that person just walk through my door one day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you will, and I truly believe we will know. But on the road to that, and also because I do work at the kundalini, there's a lot of sexual energy there. And I also learned that I could channel that into art, right? I could channel that into creation,
Hmm.
which was something I found profoundly helpful. So
Hmm.
you take that sexual energy and you create, and you don't just put it on someone else.
Hmm.
And when you do that, you're now in control of your fire. You're feeling it. You're not farming it out to a person that does not deserve the energy.
I
Yeah.
love that.
And
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing because we are sexual creatures, we're passionate creatures, and when we shut that down, we get a little sad.
Hmm.
So I believe that even if you're not looking for your man or this, that you have to take that energy, that sexual energy that's in you until you pop out of the body and use it. Don't
Hmm.
Mm.
let it lie dormant,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I can feel that definitely and stuff. And that's what I've been doing. I've even sketching something for my son that whenever I go to my boulder for meditation, there's this, it's the most amazing thing. I climb these mountains and all stuff and I hike and my dog led me to this boulder and we go and I bring a pack now, a little rolled up pack to sit on and I'll spend hours there meditating. And only from that spot can you see a perfect heart made on the mountainside across. And there's two trees that make it, and then the rest is all, and it just literally makes a perfect heart. So I've been sketching that for my son because every time I go there, I think of him and that there's that perfect heart. Anywhere else from the mountain, you can't see it. It's
Oh,
just from
wow.
that spot. It's the
I'm
coolest thing.
I'm gonna join you on that
I
mountain.
know, you should come. Definitely, anytime.
I was just in Boulder last week, so
Oh, it's here in Fort Collins.
oh, it's in Fort Collins.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's just
I don't
it's
think I've ever been to Fort Collins, so I will
oh, where
come.
do you live? I'm assuming.
I'm down in the Springs right now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh my
I
gosh.
say right now because I'm a gypsy and I'm never anywhere. And I actually don't actually feel that I live here. I just sleep here, is what I say. So I lay my head down here in this town, but I actually don't live there. And the truth of it is, I don't live anywhere. I live in my creation. I live in my mind. And so I have this very gypsy-esque energy to me, which is not always fun for others, but I enjoy
Yeah.
it because
Yeah.
I'm always on the move.
Oh, good for you. Love it. I need to channel some more of that gypsy energy. I think I went into, as I've told Jill several times, stuff like that. I went into turtle mode after my divorce, and I'm
Yeah.
like pulled in my arms and legs and head, and
Yeah.
still sometimes I don't go fully, but I go into my little cute little house, and I live downtown Fort Collins, so I can walk anywhere and stuff like that. But I still kind of use this along with being with my animals as kind of my still somewhat of my turtle shell. So I'll go out in the world, and then I quickly retreat back to my turtle
Oh,
shells.
I get it. I mean, I isolated for the last 2 years, to be honest. I was living in Los Angeles. I moved back to do the film work, and I was there for a few years, and I was very miserable. It was just, I could not live there anymore. And I was born in New York, raised in LA, but
Yeah.
something in me was like, this is just not the place I can be. And I didn't want to raise my son there. So we moved back to the Springs. And when I did, I began a pretty heavy isolation period. I'm just coming out of it, so I understand deeply what you're speaking to.
Mhm.
And many of us have done that. Many of us in the wake up space have had to isolate quite a bit to grow, to learn, to understand what we're doing here so that we can go out in the world and do what we're meant to do to raise consciousness. We had to cocoon, I think, for and I know so many of the people that come to me for help are doing that. They're like, I've been like, I don't want to leave my house, and I'm going through this, and I'm like, it's normal.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
And I
I
think it's
hear
profound.
you, you
And it's
know?
profound right now too, because it's
Yeah.
the end of a 9-year cycle and it's the year of the snake and all the stuff, shedding our skin and
good.
all that stuff. So it's like I keep on telling people, you're exactly where you're meant to be. You're shedding that
Yeah.
skin, ending a 9-year cycle. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And it's to me, it's like the isolation is calming and the quiet is calming and I have control of my space and
Yeah.
I don't have to feel anybody else.
Yes.
when I when I go out, being an entrepreneur, you have to network and things and networking is really hard for me because I can walk in a room and I can feel what I feel from people is fear and anxiety
Yeah.
because that's what I'm always working on, right? And so I walk in a room and I can feel it from that person and that person. It's overwhelming to me because entrepreneurs are all feeling that all the time.
Yeah.
Income's not stable, the unknown is very there in your face every day, and it's a real feeling, and it being at home isolates me, and I'm just here with my dogs and my chickens, and I am happy as can be right here. But on the other side of it, it's like my business doesn't move unless I'm out in front of people prospecting.
Yeah. I
So
get
it's a balance of finding the right people to hang out with at the right times
Yeah.
that feel good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Because you
being in a
got
sales
charm.
position,
Yeah.
that's it's a challenge.
Yeah.
No doubt it's a challenge. So I need to be by myself a lot. I prefer to be by myself a lot,
Yeah. You're
you
so
know.
good at networking, though, just so you know.
Thank
Like
you.
you are really gifted. I watch you work a room and you're sincere and you remember things about people and you ask about things that you specifically know about them and that sort of thing. You can tell how people really, you know, gravitate towards you. So it is
Thank
really a
you,
gift.
Tamra. That's very sweet. Yeah, and
Really.
I do like to generally get to know people. That's
Right.
a genuine feeling. But I'm not good at the superficial surface layer stuff.
Yeah.
The hi, how was your week? Oh, it was great. But I know your week sucked because I can feel it coming off of you. But go ahead and lie to me. That's fine.
The life of an empath.
It's like
The heavy lift of an
that's
impact.
hard to do over and over again.
Yeah, yeah.
So hard. It's
Uh,
soul sucking.
yeah.
Yeah, I backed away from networking for a while just because I was in the chamber in town here, and it was just like, ugh,
Mm.
felt like I needed to power wash myself when I got home.
Aw. You were still
Um,
beautiful at it, though.
well, thank you,
You couldn't
honey.
you couldn't tell.
You're very sweet. So, let's touch upon just one more thing, and then I'll let you guys get going with your day. We've been on for a little over an hour. Thank you guys so much for all of your amazing input and ideas and inspiration. Turu, let's talk about your movie that you're making.
Yeah. It's coming out on Amigo Studios with an S, amigostudios.com. You can find more information. And actually we are in the midst of potentially changing the name of the film due to some complications that I won't get into. So right now it's titled Plague of Corruption. I believe it will be titled Pharmaceuticals. If
Ooh.
that doesn't give you a hint.
I like that. I like that.
Yes, I'm loving that because the
I'm
film
loving that.
really delves into and it tries to span 80 years of corruption, 80 years of corporate capture in the realm of medicine. Um, and so it goes into some of the conversations around what can we trust? What can we believe anymore? What are vaccines doing? Now, again, this is not an anti-vax film, but it begs the question, how can we ever know the truth if the truth is being held back? And if it's all about corporate greed, how are we ever going to know? And so
Right.
it goes into some very deep corners. And it was a very difficult film to make. It took over 5 years. It went through different incarnations, and then when it came into our world, that was about 2 years ago or so. We picked up all the scraps on the floor because it was gonna just be decimated because it was so hard to make this movie. We picked it up, we re-edited, we added a lot more information because COVID had happened. The beginning of this project, it was kind of began pre-COVID. So there was so much more information to talk about. We have Liam Neeson as the voiceover, and it's
He's got a
beautiful.
great voice.
Wow. And again, it was such a labor of love for everyone involved because it was excruciating to get it finished and out. And we're just in the marketing period here. We'll release the film sometime in January. If you go to amigostudios.com, you can sign up for more information about maybe some watch parties coming up. So it's been so important to me. I personally was vaccine damaged. I owned restaurants at the time, so life was hard during that COVID era. I was I won't say pressured, but I was felt pressured to take a vaccine. I took it and got very, very ill. I still have some of the problems associated with the allergic reaction I had. And that was right before my big wake up spiritually. So I knew something was wrong. With During the COVID era, I lost my business. I owned restaurants. It was devastating, but through that came such beauty. But I felt very strongly about this subject matter, so strong that I said there will be nothing that will stop me from getting this film out. So that's what we're doing. And I have a child, so I'm very concerned about what we're doing to our bodies, our children, and of course, this goes deeper into what are we doing with our soil and our food. We have Robert Kennedy is featured quite heavily throughout this film. This is not a political film. I know somebody may want to make it so. We're just trying to tell a story that's very difficult to tell because it spans so long. So I
Hmm.
just hope, my hope is that it has people asking themselves questions. I'm not here to tell them what to do. This film's not trying to tell them what to do, but it's trying to open their minds to ask questions about what they're putting in their bodies. And if we can do that, we have completely won in my purview. So
Yeah, I love that. It's an important thing that I think everybody in this awakening that we're talking about, right?
yeah.
Embracing the feminine and really tapping into why are we here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
People want holistic remedies as well along with
Yes.
that journey, right? They
Mm.
want to detoxify their bodies and their energy and
Yeah.
find a place of homeostasis and balance that feels really good, that brings them joy, helps them sleep at night, heals their body naturally,
Mhm.
all
Absolutely.
through frequency techniques
And also
Well,
and
being a clean
good
vessel.
nutrition, right? And
Yes.
not filling your body with toxic
Yeah.
things. And
Right.
yeah.
not
Yeah.
everybody's on board with this idea, but I think
No,
that there's an awakening
Mhm.
brewing out there
Mhm.
where
I
the interest is gaining for a lot of people, and what has been the go-tos isn't necessarily working for people anymore.
Mhm.
Exactly. And because we've been drinking this Kool-Aid for so long and we've been trusting this and trusting that, the trust is breaking down. We are now
Exactly.
realizing we
Yes.
don't know the truth. We need to know it. We need to understand things. And it is our right as humans here to ask for transparency, to ask for the corporate greed to take their hands out. This is our health. These are our children. This is
Mm,
our planet. These are our animals. Everything we're doing with all of this massive amount of pharmaceuticals. And I'm not against medicine when it's needed,
mhm,
but I love
mhm.
healing naturally. I love it. And I love being a clean vessel for the work, for the
Right,
spiritual work.
right.
I can't do it if I'm muddled up with poison. And it took years to extract those prions, those vaccine prions from my body. Um, these things attach into your eyes, into your organs. And now the science is showing this to be true. And when you shut down the people trying to discuss this, it's very clear there's a conspiracy there then. Like
Mhm.
if you thought that this was false, you wouldn't shut it down. But they constantly try to shut us down. And we are dealing with it all the time. Ave, in our little movie, we are dealing with it all the time. So
Yeah.
bringing that divine feminine up, the mother, the healer, the one that will burn it down, that's what I do because I say, you know what? Doing this for my child, I'm doing this for the consciousness, and no one's going to stop it.
Good for you.
You
Love it.
Hmm.
I had
I
my
love it.
son vaccinated, and I'm the same way. I was raised homeopathic, I was raised naturopathic. My great grandfather was one of the first homeopathic doctors in Canada and stuff. And it was just so I was raised that way and stuff like that. We didn't get a ton of vaccinations, but I do see the wisdom in some vaccinations. It's just
Absolutely.
we don't need 38 of them for a little baby. And my son got one and had a reaction. And he tested a couple of years later, tested positive for leukemia.
Oh,
So I had doctors who, even medical doctors who did believe in vaccinations, but I would tell them what happened after his vaccination, and they go, okay, yeah, we can see that they would admit he had a vaccination injury,
wow.
swole his brain, all that kind of stuff. So I work with frequency, and I am finding more and more, because like I said, my passion has been switching to animals. And in working with the animals, I'm finding the beauty of it is I'm finding more and more clients are going, okay, this worked for my animal. Will you work on my dad? Will you work on me? Will you work on my mom? Will you work
Yeah,
on my kid? And I'm getting more and more kids. And I'm dealing with the brain because then the frequency crosses the blood-brain barrier. And so you just start going into the trauma. I can treat it as just head trauma, head injury, because it's a swelling of the brain, whether it's vaccination or concussion or whatever it may be, and that sort of thing. And I'm finding over and over again, everything is leading me to the brain, to the brain, to the brain. So I
yeah,
start working with the brain, and then your adrenals aren't overfiring. Then you're not in, like I said, not in fight, flight, or fright mode all the time. Then
yeah,
your liver is functioning better. It's the mind, it's your systems aligned. And
wow,
it's just been incredible. That's what I mean by why I love doing this, because I'm even want to start working with what I got in ayahuasca was I'm supposed to start working with kids who have had traumatic experiences like I did. And
yeah,
same thing though, it's working with the brain rather than being like, okay, let's talk about it over and over again. That's a
yeah.
hard, you just for me, that's re-injuring.
Agree.
Instead, let's get to the source. How do we start changing your brain synapses? And
Hmm.
it's just, I find myself called to do the same thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Wow, thank you for sharing that story with your child. I truly believe I actually had bad reactions to vaccines as a little child, and they were much fewer. That gave me the onset of many health issues throughout my life. I truly believe it. I cannot prove that. But then with the COVID narrative and that really came to light. Oh, wow. Actually, I do see a thread here. And now, like you said, we're giving unbelievable amounts of vaccines to little babies. At the end of the day, if we don't know about the what might be occurring and mothers keep doing the same thing over and over and getting negative results, we can't blame the mother. We have to continue to give them the knowledge.
Yeah.
And without that, we're in trouble. So at the end of the day, I just want people to stop and ask some questions. And yeah, behind the scenes, doctors will admit a lot that they will never admit in general, like because they also can lose their license. I mean, I know many that have lost their careers, lost their licenses, their lives have been completely shattered. And now they're big in this movement. So many of those people are just so excited about our film because
Mhm.
it helps them show the legitimacy of their fight, and it is a fight. It is a fight. Again, if your choice is to take it when you know the truth about something, that's okay. That's your choice. That's what we're supposed to be able to do here.
Mhm.
But when we're mandated and we're forced and we're vilified, if we don't, uh,
Mm,
this this is a
yeah,
problem.
Yeah.
that was a big issue during the COVID epidemic. Yeah.
Oh, huge.
Yeah, a lot of chauvinistic attitudes around it.
It was horrible. I mean, I felt the
Yeah.
oppression because I was running restaurants. And I saw a lot of negativity being hurled at people that didn't want to do certain, vaccines or masks, or a lot of a lot of aggression to the point where you'd be called a murderer, just the most horrendous things. And so now the script is flipping. That's, not what we were doing. We didn't believe it. There was something that just felt completely wrong. And so having the sovereignty
Mhm.
to live your life is so important right now. Sovereignty as a spiritualist, sovereignty as a mother, sovereignty as to your own health, to your own belief systems. As long as you're there for you and your intentions are super beautiful and you're trying, you got it. It's you can't go wrong. It's when you're just um, pulled into all the lies and then you become the aggressor because you're on a hill screaming about something that you don't even know the truth about. That's quite
Hmm.
scary to me. Yeah.
That's a lot different. Yeah. So where can we find this movie come January? Is it going to be
Yes.
in standard
So,
theaters, or is it more of a documentary, small
yeah,
scale? Where do we
it's
find
gonna
it?
as we speak right now, because things change, we plan on distributing the film ourselves because we believe that that's in strength and power. We didn't even want to go to normal distribution systems. Now, things can shift. You never know. It's a wild world. But you will be able to download and rent or purchase the film from our website, amigostudios.com. So that's the plan for now, and that would be in
Okay.
January. We're going to have a big, huge world premiere that will be online, so you can sign up for that as well.
Fun.
Okay.
Cool.
So in the show notes below, everyone, I will have Turu's contact information, that the website, and do you have any other social media, YouTube or anything that you share with
Let
the
me
world?
Yeah, let me put a couple of extra things together for you.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
I know Amigo Studios has a YouTube and I just don't want to give you the wrong information.
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah. So we'll add Turu and Tamara's information at the bottom of the show notes so you guys can get a hold of either one of them. Thank you, ladies, so much for being on with me
Thank
today.
you. Beautiful
I
lady.
so appreciate both of you. I'm grateful for you to be here and sharing this 90 minutes with us.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
you both.
much. And
Thank
I,
you.
Have
I
a
can't wait
have
to
a
be with you in person.
Yeah, hopefully someday. I would love to take your one of your kundalini classes next time you have one. Let me know.
I will, definitely.
Tamara will come with me, right?
Yeah,
She
absolutely.
does
Yeah.
kundalini every day.
Yeah.
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 Uh,
Love it.
Cool.
And I love how we had a plan of like kind of how this was going to flow, and then we completely went off on a tangent on
Yeah,
one, there, and a tangent
that's how
over
I
there, and
roll.
it's like that's how some of the podcasts end up because we're human, right? We go with the flow of what the thought processes are that are showing up between the three of us, and it doesn't always show up the way that we originally structure it, but that is a beautiful thing, and I love that. That's
I love
artistic
it.
too, right?
Yeah.
It's just
Mhm.
us being us, having fun together, enjoying each other's company. So I appreciate both of you guys. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
You
Thank
too,
you.
both
You
ladies.
too.
Yeah,
All
awesome.
right. Thank you
Well,
so much.
everyone, thank you for being here. Stay tuned for the next one.
Awesome. Bye.